All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. It's great to have each and every one of you here with us today. Whether you're live here in our Zoom room, you're watching us live on Facebook, or whether you're watching the recording. Today is November 21st. This is episode 7 of 2023. And today we're going to explore two traits where it's all about power. So today we're going to also explore trait 14 with power skills, as well as trait 34 with personal power. So we're going to be exploring the power to make a contribution with charisma. So before we jump in and get started, let's say a quick hello to our panel. And let's start with Banu. Hello, Banu, welcome.
Hello, hi everybody. It's great to be here and I'm excited for today. We were just discussing before going on live how important the 14 is for any business, be it small or big, and then 34 is so important on the individual level as well. So expect a powerful BG5 Live today. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Banu, and let's go to Natalie. Hey, Natalie, welcome.
Hey, yeah, a powerful, empowering BG5 Live today. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Natalie. Welcome. And let's go to Shelley.
Hello, everyone. Yes, this looks fun. And can't wait to jump into exploring these two traits. I have neither of them, but I've been witness to lots of people who do have them and am feeling them in the background right now. So great to be reviewing them.
Wonderful. Welcome, Shelley. And let's go to Boris. Hey, Boris, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Karen. Hello, the other panelists. Yes, I'm the one today that has both of the traits, 14 and 34. So let's see what I can explain about my two powerhouses in my energy resource. I'm excited.
I love it. I love it. And Chris isn't able to join us today. And my name is Karen Sherwood. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's go ahead and dive in. Once again, I do recommend having your chart in front of you to see if you have either trait 14 or trait 34. They are both in the energy resource. The energy resource is this square right here. 14 is right in the middle here. 34 is over here. So take a look at your chart. Take a look. Do you have trait 14? Do you have trait 34? Or are there people in your life that have those two traits that you could share your experience? For those of you who are live here in our Zoom room, we would love to hear your experience, especially if you do have trait 14 or have trait 34. So please feel free to raise your hand. After we go through the panel, we would love to hear from you as well. So to prepare everyone, and let's jump in. So today we are going to take a look at the power to make a contribution with charisma, taking a look at power, both power skills and personal power. Right now, we're currently in power skills. And as we move into Thanksgiving weekend, for those of you who are in the United States, we are also going to be moving into our personal power. So there's a big week ahead, which we will talk about here momentarily. So let's start with the 14. Now, one of the things about the 14 is it is really, really key when it comes to business. It really is at the heart of business. If we take a look at the life work themes, we can see it's contagion, empowering. It can also be uncertainty as well, all with the purpose fulfilled through transformation. When we take a look at trait 14, it is part of the energy resource. This is power skills. This is possession in great measure. This is the accumulation and retention of power through skilled interaction, coupling grace with control. And what's very interesting, not only is the 14 one of the key traits in business, this is money, this is power, this is wealth that needs to be filtered out. And ultimately, one of the things that we take a look at, especially in BG5 certification, we also take a look at this Uh, in OC16 as well, it's grounded by trait 18, which is all about making a contribution. So ultimately, these resources, these power skills can be utilized best when it's making a contribution to others. So it's contribution, it's holding together. It's the basic worth realizing in contributing individual efforts to group goals. So one of the things we're going to take a look at is all of the traits that we're exploring today are individual traits. But what's very interesting about trait 14 and trait 8, even though they are in the individual circuitry, they really work best and operate best in small groups, in large groups, where you can really use those resources, those power skills to make a contribution to others. Now, the other traits that we will be experiencing this week are the life work theme, and the 34 is evolution, power, and duality. So 34 is about personal power. So in a sense, we have the 14, which is the power for a small group, for a large group, but also individual power and resources. Here we have personal power, and this is that power is only great when its display or use serves the common good. And I typed this last minute, so apologize for the spelling there. And it is grounded by trait 20. This is contemplation in the now. This is the recognition and awareness in the now, which transforms understanding to right action. Now, why is this strength also deeply, deeply important? One of the reasons why it's so important is because it really is a sneak peek to the era of the individual. We're moving out of the era of planning into the era of the individual. And I have the chart here for the full moon, which is happening on November 27th. And I love looking at patterns, and I like taking a look at where we can create those connections. And as you can see, we have the full strength of charisma activated. This is one of only 3 strengths that are oppositions in the wheel. And when we get to the 3420, which we'll get to on Thanksgiving on Thursday, it is, in a sense, a sneak peek into the era of the individual, especially when we get to the new moon, because when we get to the new moon, it is in quality 6. And quality 6 is what we're going to be moving into as we move into the era of the individual. So we're moving to the 34 in quality 6, which is all about personal power and common sense, knowing when enough is enough. So it really is about following your decision-making strategy and the common sense to know when we are using our energy in a way that really is not supportive, or in a way that burns us out. 34 is the personal power to empower. This is really about self-empowerment. And it's connected to trait 20 and quality 6, which is contemplation, which is wisdom. This is contemplation, which results in the ability to apply understanding. Where that currently is in the era of planning is in illusion and delusion. We're moving out of illusion and delusion, and we're moving towards wisdom. And we're maturing from machismo, the indiscriminate display of power, so that we can see, again, our driving force, as well as the grounding is going to be in trait 20 of wisdom, the 34 in the core essence, and also what we're maturing. So just pay attention to this next week, because as I said, this represents also the era of the individual. Also with our values is going to be activated in trait 57. So in this upcoming week, we're going to feel the strength of charisma, the strength of power, and the strength of continuity. And these strengths happen to also be the strengths, if you will, of the era of the individual. So that's why I'm saying it's almost like a sneak peek, the full moon leading us into this really powerful transition time that we are in between the era of planning and the era of the individual. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to where we are and what to pay attention to in this upcoming week, to see how this strength of charisma and power and spontaneity also affect you, how you experience those strengths as well. Now, with that, we're going to be discussing all of this. However, what I do want to focus in on specifically, and we'll talk once again next week. We just decided we're going to talk a little bit more about the 34 next week as well, because it is a really powerful trait, especially as we move into the era of the individual. But today, what we're going to really put our focus on is trait 14. This is the power, skills, and business. And why we want to focus here first is because it is so important in business. Trait 14 is at the heart of any business, and it's responsible for the distribution of available resources. So, this is the capacity in a small group or finance in a larger group. So, what's interesting about trait 14 is that it's not only in the individual, it's also in what we call the penta or the small group. It's also one of the strengths within one of the traits within a strength of a large group dynamic, which we call the OC16. Now, when we take a look at trait 14, it is about money, it's about resources, it's about power, and it's about wealth. And it's an individual trait that works best when empowering the direction of others. It's ultimately what it's here to be used for. Now, trait 2 that we can see is the harmonic trait to the 14. Trait 2 is like the driver. It puts the key in the ignition. We took a look at trait 2 as the grounding to trait 1 a few weeks ago. So trait 2 is the driver that puts the key in the ignition, but the vehicle does not move unless trait 14 pushes on the gas pedal. Now, I have trait 2, and Shelley also has trait 2, but we don't have the 14. And this is also one of my bridging traits as well. So I can recognize when the trait 14 is not there. And trait 14 is actually one of my biggest shadows as well, where I try to push on the gas pedal and try to fulfill a vision, but not have necessarily the resources in order to do that. So Shelley and I know that very well. So again, see how these two work together. And this is, in a sense, in a small group, this is also the material vortex within a small group dynamic. And this is the power and the resources to get something new and different out into the world. So this is ultimately, if we're in a small business or in a large business, this is how we get something new into the world that makes a contribution. Again, it is grounded by trait 8 of PR. It's grounded by trait 8 of contribution. And so I would love to open it up, and I'm going to start with Boris, because Boris, you have both of these traits, and you have both of these traits of power. And I would love to hear how you utilize and how you experience both trait 14 and trait 34.
It was actually interesting to see that these two traits would be kind of pairing up today in the BG5 live. And I looked at my chart again just to see, okay, where are they actually hidden? And they're actually in the what's hidden. So it's actually always a surprise to me how these two power skills come out. So the 14, which is like the power skill, I would call it for empowering a team. This is how I realized it at work, that I even got feedback from my team at that time. Boris, when you're not around, there is kind of direction missing. There's the energy missing. The people leave early. There is like things are falling apart kind of situation. So this is like what came into my mind when I reread what about 14. And this comes unconscious. And this is something I realized myself, that I'm not a small group person. I'm not a penta person in a small team. I'm like a large group, large organization or partnership person. And I always felt like abused for my energy. It was like somebody sucking out my energy, my drive, my power, my supply, whatever it is, to do something which is possibly not mine. And that is, I think, as a generator or builder, I mean, I was the perfect slave in a company because I had the power, I had the energy. I would do anything for any good reason, and ultimately led me into a burnout. And I think this unconscious hidden trait 14 was the reason for it. I was buying into things that were not mine, and I was far away from understanding my gut reaction, my decision-making strategy, and so on. On the opposite, the 34, which is as well a hidden one, but more on the conscious side, this is my personal power. And I'm passionate about something when really something kicks in and really something ignites me. I mean, I'm unstoppable. I could work 24/7, 7 days a week, 51 weeks in a year without stopping, without sleeping. It's just like, boom, the energy is there. But it's rather for something for me, for empowering myself. I think in the meantime, really, this is the subtle difference I feel. The 14 is really for somebody else. The 34 is for me, my own energy, my own drive, my own pushing forward. And that comes via my splenic center or the survival instinct. Very intuitive. I know straight away in the second I go, I don't go. It's even warning me. It's warning signals that I receive via these two functions that be careful, something is dangerous. And it's this subtle notions that come once. Something is not right, stop it, or don't move. And I have numerous examples of me riding on my motorcycle on racetracks where I got these warnings and I did not listen to the warnings and I had accidents afterwards. And it was a clear result of warning not respected. So this is the subtle differences between the two that I realized in my life so far.
Wow. Wow. Very powerful, Boris. And thank you for pointing out the difference. It's interesting that the 14 and the 34 are side by side within the wheel and really part of this transformational process, that this is really the energy or the power that's put into transformation. And I love how you explained how the 14 is really that energy for others and the 34 is really that energy for yourself as well. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much, Boris. And how about for you, Banu? I know you don't have either trait. However, you have had quite a bit of experience, I believe, in the working world, especially in how these two traits operate.
Yes. Yeah. So let me start with the 14, actually. So the power skills. It's really, really important in a business, as you put it, like the first thing on that slide that we were seeing about, understanding what this trait is all about. Because if you are in a group setting, in many businesses this is actually bringing in everything that's needed. So it can be human resource, it can be money, it could be anything that's needed to make a product. And, it's all the resources that are needed. And it kind of, the way it works is it collects all of these and then it will collect them and push them up for the business to be able to use. So we call it like the vortex when we, in the classes and when we look at our slides. So it's very, very important for any business, and the lack of it. So if it's not there, I think it's like the most important trait not to have that can hinder a business from being successful, really. So that's why we should really pay attention to it. And using the BG5 information, like if you are going to form a company, you're looking to form your own business and you're going to look into it growing, this is the one thing that you really want to pay attention to, for sure. Because without it, things probably won't run as smooth as they should. And I've really witnessed this, having it in a group or not having it does matter. It does matter. Yeah. But moving on to the OC16 side, so when we're in a bigger organization, of course, there are lots of connections, and you can get these resources from the bigger organization, even if you didn't have it within your organization, and it can be compensated somehow. Let me put it that way. Yeah. But it's very important. That's how I have witnessed it throughout my experience in the business world. Yeah, but I can't speak so much personally about it because I don't have it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Banu. And again, really highlighting the importance of how trait 14 operates. And Shelley, you have trait 2, which is the harmonic trait to the 14. I'm wondering how you experience, or your experience with both the 14 and the 34, how you've seen it, how you've experienced it in not having either of the traits, but again, having the harmonic of the two.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely having trait 2 and finding out about the 14 and how important it is. First off, because it represents a shadow then in my design, because I have the 2 but not the 14, I feel it as something I'm missing, that I'm lacking something. And often in my life, I've had all kinds of visions and desires to move forward with something, and I would just jump in and hope the money would follow. That's kind of how I've lived my life. Sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. I do have several family members who have the 14, and all of them are in the service of helping other people with their resources. So I have a sister and a son-in-law who are both accountants with the 14. They're helping other people manage their money. My husband is a financial planner. He has the full strength. He helps people give direction and vision to where their resources are going. That's what he helps them with. I also have a family member who's got the 14, but not the 2. And I've kind of watched that play out in that the money will either be held on too tightly or given away without any vision. And I have an example of each in my family. I have one who's great at holding back and managing the money tightly, and the other one who's just like, no, let's just go do this. So spends the money without a real clear vision. And so I've seen that play out in many different people that I know and family members. And there's always a little bit of that shadow attached, whether you have the 2 and not the 14, or the 14 and not the 2. The shadow comes into play when, making those decisions can feel a little unsettling. The 3457, I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I do again have several family members who have this, and I've experienced how powerful they are, how charismatic they are, how strong their personal power is. I've also watched how they've either managed that power for themselves and utilized it for their own health and well-being. And when they do, it works great for them. When they don't, though, I've watched people not utilize that power for themselves and try to give it away to others. And it really just degenerates them. They end up feeling sick and helpless and out of control and just don't know what to do with themselves. And so I've been able to coach them back to, hey, look, you have this 3457. That's just for you. You need to spend that energy doing something that benefits just you. And if you don't, it gets wasted and it can just throw you off track. So because it just builds and builds and builds and builds, and you can't give it away if you try. Trying really just upsets the apple cart for you even more. So it's really about managing your own personal power when you have that strength, is being able to manage it wisely for your own benefit and letting go of feeling like you're being selfish, because that's often what happens is, oh no, I have to take care of others before myself. When really, no, you actually are better off if you take care of yourself first, and then you can actually help more appropriately and with cleaner energy when you need to step in and help others. So that's kind of what I've seen and recognized with both of those.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Shelley. And again, if there is any of you that are here in our Zoom room that have trait 14 or trait 34 that would love to share, we would love to have you raise your hand. We're gonna go to Natalie, but again, if you would like to share, please raise your hand. Or if you have experiences, just like what Shelley shared, with people in your family or people in the workplace that have these traits, we would love to hear from you as well. So let's go to Natalie.
Yeah, bummer. I don't have anything.
Are you still there? Oh, we may have just.
She's frozen up.
All right. But you can still hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Natalie,
So,
yeah.
So it looks like
we're frozen for a minute. Oh, here she comes.
All right. Oh, you're muted. We can't hear you. All right. Well, again, is there we go. Are you there? Try unmuting.
Sorry, does it work now?
Yes.
Yes, that's better.
I'm eating some nuts because I just was teaching my foundation course and I'm like, anyway, sorry.
Do you want us to come back to you?
Well, you can come back to me, but I literally, I was like looking and thinking, who do I know? I know you having the other side and how it feels like when you lack it, etc. And I've seen it in action, but I actually don't have great stories right now.
Yeah.
So let's go to Carla, who has great stories
Oh,
about
excellent.
a lot of people around her. I don't know if you want to share, Carla, because it seems like you're surrounded with 14s and 14-2s. And Vicky as well. Cool.
Hi. Yes.
Hi, Carla.
Hi, how are you? So yes, my partner, he has the full channel. So does my mom. My partner has the 14 trait 14, both unconscious and consciously activated. It's really interesting because he is what I believe Boris shared. He is like the super slave at work, and it seems that they almost abuse him because of the energy that he brings. He is a men's basketball coach, so very large group, right? So he's the recruiter, he's the coach, he's the the janitor, the trainer. So I see it, I'm like, babe, you really should be doing something with this. Not only does he have the power, but he is the one who brings in the resources. And the resources are the men that will be the athletes, and he conditions them. And he also is the one that during the recruiting process talks to the parents and makes sure that they're set up academically so that they can play in the division. So and he's just in his whole entire life, he's the one who pieces everything together. But I feel like it gets abused a lot of the times because he can keep going. Same for my mom. She's a fashion designer, and she's just, mom, you should have your own business. And she's like, oh no, heck no, I don't want that. And she retired, and then people keep knocking down her door like, can you please make a dress for me? Can you please do this? And she just can't get out of it. And she's also the one, we come from a developing country, and she's the one who gathers up all the clothes and sends it overseas and makes sure that everyone in the family, even I'll share a little short story about how they went through a famine. Even though her parents had money, there was a famine because there was a drought, so there was no food. And she was 15 years old making dresses and working all night, all day. And that's how they were able to trade with Portuguese people overseas to import food. So I've been
Wow.
surrounded by people like that, and I don't have this, even though I think I believe that I should. But and then my daughter, she's 6, and she's just a powerhouse, but she doesn't have the 2. So I can totally resonate with what Shelley said. I see her trying to get the resources to do things that her imagination tells her to do, or she has the power and the energy to do it, but it just falls flat. But yeah, those are the people around me, and they're very, very magnetic people, I would say. And they're all builders. I don't know if that makes a difference, but they're all builders.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's in the, their sacral is defined, but yeah, I don't know anyone with the 34 though, which I think is very interesting. I think, Boris, you're the only person that I've ever come in contact with that trait.
Wow. Beautiful share, Carla, and really great examples too of how this 14 really gathers resources. And, even when resources are scarce, there is this ability to gather resources in order to provide for a larger group or for a family, which is a smaller group. And so we can really see that in play, and exactly what you shared, Carla. Really beautiful. And did you want to share also, Vicky?
Oh, haven't got that much to say about it, but I'm an evaluator for those that don't know me, so it's definitely not in a activated energy resource function, but it is my only trait in my energy resource, and I have it twice in unusualness. And like the other beautiful examples we've had, I'm the person that won't necessarily set the direction, but I'm the one that finds out what's available and appropriate and brings it together. And I think doing that in sometimes a really different way that people are surprised by. So I think it's the double whammy of it being in an individual stream and it sitting in my unusualness. So yeah, I really enjoy it when it comes out to play.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Vicky. Yeah, and this is one of my biggest shadows. So I have trait 2, but I don't have trait 14. And trait 14 is one of my bridging strengths. So this is one of my biggest shadows. I have huge visions, but then it's trying to figure out how to get the resources in order to have those visions come to fruition. And what's very interesting is that there's many times that I have started a small business. However, I could only get so far. And the problem is that I would try to put together all the resources. I would overcompensate in getting the resources, and it would work, but not to the extent that I wanted it to work. And I've also seen the tremendous difference when I do have somebody that I can work with that has the 14. My husband has the 14. Linda Brunell, and starting the BG5 Business Institute, she has the 14. So having the 14, in a sense, takes that weight off of my shoulders, and then I can provide the vision as long as I have the resources to bring it forward. So I can really I have 14 envy. Since I don't have 14, and it is one of my bridging traits, it is something that is really, and I've really physically and mentally and everything else have experienced what that 14 is and what happens when you lack that 14 as well. Yes, Boris.
Actually funny because you just mentioned something that I am lacking as well. So I'm actually envying the 2 on the other side, which is this, I think this combination is what to use the energy for, because it is not for myself, it is for somebody else to buy into the thing that is visionary, that my energy is used right. And I think this is as well for me, this individual circuit as well, where it's attached to, it should be used right because it's still my energy, but it's for like a bigger context. And if whenever I found the matching reason to inject my energy into something I really believe in, it was just like, it was so nice. It was so flowing. It was so easy. It was kind of really unstoppable. Whenever I start to feel that the counterpart, the vision side is kind of deteriorating, it's like, stop. I could continue, but it was just like, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Something is wrong here. It smells. I cannot explain it. And that is what I realized as well in the meantime with my gut, with my energy resource. Whenever there's something coming that I cannot explain in words, that has something to do with an inner fire, an energy, a lightning or spark or something like that, and it says go, I go. This is for me the clearest signal of God says go. The opposite as well, if the God says no, it's like a handbrake in a car. Boom, stop, backwards. Stop, freeze. That is for me the clearest signals that really my decision making is kicking in, and that is energy I feel. That is energy as a fire, as an ignition that I feel. And for me, that is clearly the 2 power indicators, 14 and 34, that kick in. It's like a spark plug, boom, fires, engine ready to go, combustion, let's go.
Wow.
And I think that is what Shelley said before this. I would call it positive selfishness. which is for me as well in the 34. If I look for myself first, then I can care for others. And I think this is as well the 2750 and so on. That is my design, which is similar to what they say in airplane with the masks that would come down. Help yourself first, then help others. I think this is what's behind, and that is for me the positive selfishness, which is in this 34 area.
Yeah. It's interesting when we take a look at the 34, to your point, Boris, this is power is only great when it's displayed or used to serve the common good. No, it's really part of the definition of what the 34 is all about. Exactly what you just said, Boris.
And I have actually the 34 in the first line, which is the bully, the
Mm.
indiscriminate use of power. So I know when I use the power of my standing, of my posture, of my physical being for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
I can break through walls, but it's it's not very nice. And
Yeah.
that is where the 34 first line then kicks in.
Yeah.
And then I become the bully, and I know.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Boris. Beautiful. Is there anyone else in our Zoom room that that has experience with the 14 or the 34, or would like to share? Yes, Lorraine.
Everyone. How's everybody
Yay.
doing? I love these conversations. Well, I was just going through my database here, and I've realized that a lot of my favorite clients, business leaders, entrepreneurs, have this 14, if not the whole strength. And luck be a lady, I'm here to guide in consulting. But what I notice about these, they're all women. What I notice about these women is that they are just naturally benevolent in the sense that they always help other people with resources. I don't even think it's conscious for them in that sense. Just how they move, what they do, how they express their work or their love for community, even though it's an individual circuitry, right? It's really meant for other people. And I think that's what pulls the inspiration out from everybody else, is to see somebody move so naturally with the 14 or the strength of the 214, because they're just wise beyond their years and they just have all these resources. And the way that they just live and move, it's so natural for them to always be surrounded by resources. So there is, like we heard on the chat here, there's this magnetism to these people. They're like, wow, like they just have all these things lined up. And the part that I'm so fascinated about is that some of them aren't even aware that that's how they move, right? Until we point it out to them, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And all of them are penta people. So it's very interesting. They're business owners, right? So it's their business. So they are bringing a ton of influence with resources to their community. And I have noticed that if they lack the 2 or they lack the 31 or the 7, right? They really don't know where to place that money. Like Shelley was saying, you'll have somebody who just loves to spend resources or share resources for the sake of sharing it, but there's no real direction, there's no real plan, there's no real purpose in administering the resources. So I've heard that conversation of them burning themselves out or having to try multiple times at being a business owner. They know they can kind of gather resources, but they kind of don't know how to really hone it in, right? Particularly 2 of these clients of mine also have an open inspiration center. So the shiny object syndrome is always calling at them to constantly just throw resources at shiny object syndrome, right? So it really is an incredible, beautiful individual quality that serves the community, which is amazing. And being able to consult and coach and guide into how to really refine that frequency, right? That energy makes all the difference. So if anybody who's listening and you have that 14 or you have the 2, look for consulting to help place these resources and direction and ideas in the most optimal way for the success of your business. It's imperative, right? We talk about the 214 being small and large business strength. It's all about direction, right?
Mhm.
So it's a really important nuance to understand that, yes, you may have the 214 as a strength, but you also need the guidance a little bit, right? Of like making sure you're not misplacing the resources and the money in the wrong way, right? According to your Penta or your large group organization. So it's just a inspiring trait. I do agree with you, Karen, that it is a little trait envy. I wish I had the 214 or the 14 to just naturally walk around with a bunch of resources at my disposal all the time. So I definitely know the challenges of not having it and what that, presents as, a thought leader. But that was my observations. Thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Lorraine. Yeah, amazing conversation. And just a couple points too. I was just thinking back to what Boris was saying, and I was looking at this too with what you were talking about with your gut response, and it really spoke to that pushing on the gas pedal. Like when it is a yes, this pushing on the gas pedal. When it's a no, the foot's off the gas. And then what Lorraine just said too, not only being able to know where the resources are going, but the other opposite side that Shelley also mentioned is I know 14s too that are very, very closed with their resources. It's really difficult to get to the resources. And oftentimes there can be trait 14, someone has trait 14 and you don't think that they have the resources. They have a lot of resources, but they're very, very protective of them. And so it doesn't get spent unless it really truly does have a direction to it as well. So it's interesting, again, the extremes that it can in which it can be used or in which it can show up as well. Beautiful. Anything else, Banu, that you would like to add? Or Shelley?
Well, just listening to the conversation and also observing Shelley and you having the two, it became more obvious to me how like bridging traits are so important. And I think I've heard like throughout all this time I've known you, Karen, I've heard a lot from you how 14 and the resources are important in that sense. And then some observations with Shelley as well. So I guess like if anybody is to form any business, these things are, I mean, from all the learnings and observations, these things really become important in the long run, I guess. Maybe if you don't have any of it, if you don't have the vision and you don't have the resources, maybe things might be falling into place for some people or not. But having it as a bridging trait, I guess it makes it ever more important in that sense. So it became more obvious to me throughout this discussion.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much.
I haven't felt it as much. Well, maybe it was because I was always part of bigger organizations and it was being felt somehow. Although I don't have it, I haven't really felt the lack of it. But then I was always part of bigger organizations. So maybe it was being taken care of in the background and I didn't notice. So
right. Exactly. Yeah, thank you so much, Vanu. And anything, Shelley or Natalie, that you would like to add?
Yeah, I'll add to what Vanu was saying. What's popped to mind is that one of the things to remember, and to what Lorraine was talking about as well, is the importance of having a BG5 coach to help you really connect with your design well, so that you are radiating or sending out a clear signal. That's really the work of having a coach, is to help you get really grounded in your design so that you will naturally attract those people that you need who have the bridging trait that you need to fulfill, or have the full 214 if you don't have it. That's the magic of how this all works, is when you're clear on who you are and what you're here to do, you naturally gather the resources you need to help you. And it really just goes to show how much we really need each other, and how intertwined we are in all of this. We all have our own contribution that we make to any size team, partnership, small team, large organization. And being able to pull things apart and look at something specific like this really just shines the light on how important that is for us to understand ourselves and then live as ourselves, so that we attract the resources and the people we need to support whatever it is we're doing.
Yeah.
And helping us move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I think beautifully shared, Shelley, because I think that really is part of the power of what we do as BG5 consultants, is being able to recognize, in a sense, what is your job based on what your design is and what is not your job. My job is not to gather the resources. My job is to have the vision, and, you know, finding someone else that can provide then the resources to get it off the ground. And when we see those dynamics of how we are designed to work together, we also realize that we don't need to make ourselves wrong. I can't tell you how most of my life I've made myself wrong for either not having the energy or not having the resources or not having what I need to get things off the ground. And I thought there was something wrong with me. And I think realizing, in a sense, what is my role, what is the role of someone else, and how can we work together in a way that it's beneficial not only to both of us, but to the entire team, or the entire organization, or the entire group, or ultimately the entire world as well. It all comes down to how we connect and how we work with each other. And even though I envy those that have the 14, I also appreciate those that have the 14. And, you know, and it is naturally how I'm designed to work with others, is I'm naturally designed to work with others who do have the 14. And again, I think that's one of the beauties of BG5 specifically, is we really take a look at how are we designed to work in partnerships, how are we designed to work in small teams, and how we're designed to work in larger teams as well, taking on the roles that are really fulfilling for each of us, that really light us up, that inspire us, and letting go of all of those things that really aren't a part of our design, that we can let somebody else take over. Yeah, beautifully said, Shelley. Excellent. Anything else before we wrap up for today? Anyone else in our Zoom room, or anything, Natalie, you'd like to say? And Boris?
Maybe I just want to resonate with what you just said, Karen. It's the future of working for me. Mm-hmm. It's knowing my unique strengths. They are unique. It's me. It's Boris. They are not existing a second time. It's me. To find out who I am, that makes me a contributor for a team, for a partnership, for a large corporation, or whatever, because I know exactly what I'm capable of, where I'm good at. Now, how good would that be if companies would understand that, if people would understand that? To work in my strength area, not in my weakness area, and how powerful that could be. I think this is for me what BG5 can peel out, can show, can visualize in the pentas, in the OC16s, in the partnership charts. It's there. The information is there. It's new. It's transformative. It's changing, but it's the way forward. For me, it's absolutely the way forward. That's why I love it, and I found out about myself so much, and I know my strengths in the meantime.
Yeah.
And I think this is what it is.
Yep. Spot on, Boris. Yeah, absolutely. Well, amazing discussion. And if you are interested in learning more about what BG5 is all about, I really invite you to check out our courses and our programs. We do have the BG5 Foundation course, which is the perfect place to start. If you are a Dutch and you speak Dutch, Natalie has a foundation course. She just started today, but you can still join. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that, Natalie.
Yeah, it was a great first class. This first class is a trial class and for free. So the replay will be available on the website when you go to the free resources and then to BG5 in Dutch. soon. And yeah, it was a blast. It was, yeah, we had a really nice chat afterwards with the people that were there, and they were just very, very appreciative.
Yeah. So if you speak Dutch, I encourage you to join Natalie in her BG5 Foundation course. I'm going to be teaching the BG5 Foundation course starting at the end of January. So would love to have you join us. Actually, both Boris and Lorraine are going to be assistants in the course as well. So you'll also have Boris and Lorraine as a part of the class. So would love to have you join us. Again, that is starting on January 31st. So right at the end of January. Would love to have you check it out, and would love to have you be a part of the foundation course. Yes, Natalie.
Yeah, I just want to share with people watching this, why is it starting at the end of January, Karen?
And why it's starting at the end of January. Both Natalie and I are speaking at the Rave
Human Design Rave Festival 2024.
Yes.
In Sofia, Bulgaria. Live. Yay! We're going to meet for the first time in 8 years.
Yeah, so the plan is to be there live. I'm still working on the details of that, so hopefully that is going to come together soon. And if you, I would encourage you to check it out as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some amazing speakers, and I think is it 7 days? 7 days?
No,
yeah.
It's 6 days from 17th until 22nd of January. So we will celebrate the Rave New Year on the last day, which is January 22nd. And the wonderful thing, so either Karen is online or live, but there is another BG5 consultant, Iwan Nistar. He will do live workshop experiments with Penta energy, and I will do live workshop with OC16 energy. So it will be amazing. It will be amazing.
Yeah. So if you happen to have an opportunity to either be online, because you can also join online, or live in Sofia, Bulgaria. And actually the flights are actually very inexpensive as well. And that's one of the reasons why they did it in Sofia, Bulgaria as well, because it is one of the least expensive companies or countries in Europe as well. So
yeah, accommodation as well. Yeah.
Not
from us, from Australia. Sorry, Biggie.
So yes, would love to have you join us there as well, and hopefully meet all of us in person also. So again, if you want a BG5 strategy session, if you're not sure if this is correct for you or not, we can meet one-on-one. You can meet with Banu or myself or Michael or Tuck, or if you speak Chinese as well, Tina, Conan, and Rebecca. Also do strategy sessions as well. It's a great way to connect and get familiar with your design. So would love to have you connect and get to know your design and get to know yourself even further. So next week we're going to focus on trait 9. We're also going to bring up trait 34 as well, because it's going to be in between this week. So we did give you a little heads up so you can take a look at the 34 as we move into this week. And next week we'll take a look at the focus to master skills. So thank you everyone for being here. It has been an amazing discussion. If everyone would like to put on their camera, so if you are here live in our Zoom room, go ahead and turn on your camera. Would love to see all of your amazing faces. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone. And if you would all love to unmute yourself and say goodbye, we will sign off for today, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks. Bye, everybody online.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.